Hey guys, welcome back to L&D Home. Welcome to our kitchen. Today's video is going to be some Christmas cookie prepping. I have lots of cookies that I need to make. We are hosting Christmas Eve this year, and also I like to give them as gifts. It's kind of a cheap-ish way for me to do gifts, and everyone loves a good cookie, especially if they didn't like host at their house or they're not like baking kind of people. They might not have like those leftover cookies that we always have that we eat on for like a week and then our tummies hurt. So I am going to be giving them as gifts as well. So I have a lot of prep to do. I'm not going to be baking the cookies in this video, but I am going to be prepping all of the dough and popping it into the fridge so that I can cook it in the next, or bake the cookies in the next day or two. You also can freeze your dough. I won't be doing that because I don't need that long period of time in between, but if you are trying to prep like a week ahead of time, or you just want easy cookie dough, you can always make cookie dough ahead of time, pop it in the freezer, and just kind of thaw it out and use it as you like. So I'm going to be putting mine in the fridge, but I am going to be prepping everything so that when I am ready to bake, I'm doing like a baking day, because there's going to be a lot of cookies that I need to make, a lot. So I have two households, mine, my husband's house that I'll be taking cookies to, plus the gifted cookies. So we have a lot of cookies to prep and a lot of cookies to bake. So this video is going to be all about prepping. I'm going to be sharing the recipes that I am doing. Most of them are just kind of Googled. I'll be talking all about the recipes and all of that stuff as I'm doing the prepping process. But yeah, if you want to join me for that prepping process, let's do it. So as I am getting my hands all clean, I decided to not save the best for last. I decided to do our absolute favorite Christmas cookie first, and that is going to be our Grinch cookie. Don't worry, I will have all of the recipes to the 3 cookies I'm making in today's video over on our website. I am going to show you the ingredients a little bit on each process for each cookie, but all of the recipes will be over on our website, and our website is always down in the description box below, so go ahead and check that out. Now, I cannot take credit for this recipe. I found this recipe like 10 years ago or something on Pinterest. I have modified it over the years to make it a little bit more Grinchy and minty, and I gotta tell you, even people who don't usually like mint flavored things have said that they liked my cookies. Are they lying? We don't know, but they were completely gone when I brought a giant container of them to work. So I guess they speak for themselves. Everyone really loves them, or at least they pretend to. I know my family in particular really loves them. Basically, this recipe is a sugar cookie recipe that someone had already modified to be Grinchy. And basically, when I modified mine, I just added more chocolate chips and more peppermint extract. I used to add more food coloring, but I kind of like not adding quite as much, because if you add too much, sometimes it can get a little bit too dark and look a little bit scary. You want it to be kind of a nice, pretty, Grinchy kind of green, not too deep. Also, the Andes mint chips that you're going to use for this, they are really hard to find these past 2 years. I've only been able to find mine at Target. 10 million years ago, when I first started making this recipe, I don't think they made Andes mint chips. I used to have to buy the packages of Andes mints and cut them all up. The chips are absolutely a lifesaver, but I have find them really hard to kind of locate. So if you are having a hard time finding them, check your local Target. That is the only place I have been able to find them the past 2 years without ordering them online. Also, the original recipe said to mix in the chips at the very end. I do mine before the flour mixture, because if it gets really, really thick, like I have to turn my thing on full speed. This is sped up a little bit, so I'm not going quite this fast. But when I get to the end, I do have to turn my mixer on full speed because the dough gets very thick. I also recommend, if you're not going to be putting these in the fridge or freezing them and you're just making them straight from room temperature, to give your dough a stir every once in a while, because that peppermint extract can really kind of soak to the bottom and make the top of your batter a little bit dry and the bottom a little bit too gooey, and then it just won't cook right. So if you're doing it straight out of the bowl, give it a mix every 2 rounds of cookies to make sure everything is nice and incorporated. That has really, really helped us when we don't refrigerate ours. This next cookie is actually a new one. First time I'm ever making it. My coworker sent me a TikTok of this cookie, and she said, oh my God, this looks amazing. Well, she had sent it to me after I had already kind of started my work cookie batches, but I decided to go ahead and try it this holiday season, and that is a cinnamon roll cookie. Now, I've never tried this before. I don't know if it's going to be any good, but the recipe will be on our website. Also, make sure you are following us on Instagram because I will be sharing the final product of how these cookies turned out and what we thought of them over on our Instagram page, which is also always linked in the comments down below. I'm not too great at keeping up with Instagram, but since I'm baking off camera because I have so many cookies that I need to bake for gifts and 2 different households, I will not be baking on YouTube, but I will be baking off camera. But I do want to give you an update of how this cookie turned out specifically and the other ones as well. So check our Instagram page for final results of this cinnamon roll cookie. There were a few things that I wanted to note as I was baking these cookies. Obviously, I don't know how they taste yet, but one thing I wanted to note is you need to have cream of tartar, which is something that I happen to have on hand when I was making something. I can't remember, a long time ago. So I happen to have it on hand, but you are going to need that. And it's not something that you would commonly have, like cinnamon or something like that, in your pantry. Another thing that I wanted to note was this cookie was very kind of strange. You saw me scooping there on the silicone mat. And I am going to show here in a second me doing the first part of the second batch because you are supposed to take that first part, the cinnamon, the brown sugar, and the 6 tablespoons of butter. Again, the recipe will be on our website, linked in the description box below. But that's going to make these like little like cinnamon brown sugar balls that you then mix in after you have this dough ready. And one thing I noticed was you're supposed to freeze them. Well, this didn't fit in my freezer. And it just kind of like mixed it all in strangely. I'm not really sure. The second time I did it, I did freeze them. I just folded the silicone mat in half. So that's a tip for you guys if you don't have a lot of room in your freezer. We have a side-by-side fridge, so our freezer is pretty small. So is our fridge. So I just kind of put them on the silicone mat, folded in half. And maybe I should have made tinier little balls. You'll see if you look at the TikTok that's linked below. Her little cinnamon things look different than mine. I don't know why they were so like kind of like runny, or it just wasn't seeming right, but we'll see when I bake them if everything turns out okay. And then also before you bake them, you're supposed to roll them in some granulated sugar mixed with some cinnamon to get a nice little like cinnamon roll crust situation. There seems to be no icing with this. That would just probably be an absolute mess. But I did want to talk about those few things if you're thinking about baking the cinnamon roll cookies. Last up is going to be our chocolate crinkle cookies, and I've actually made these in previous years. This is the one where you're supposed to roll it in powdered sugar before you bake it, but I actually modified it this year for a coworker. It made a big hit at work and also in our home. So I decided not to roll these in powdered sugar. I decided instead to add some chocolate chips and some white chocolate chips. My coworker really wanted something with white chocolate, and it turned out really, really good. And I'm not usually a big fan of white chocolate myself, and I really liked it in these cookies because they are a really fudgy cookie anyway. So adding that white chocolate and of course some regular milk chocolate chips. We always use milk chocolate, not like the semi-sweet. We like the milk chocolate. So adding the white chocolate in there really helped just bring out that fudgy taste, and the two tastes together are absolutely amazing. Another thing that I wanted to say about this cookie is that you should probably double it. This is a single batch. I forgot that I needed to double it and then do doubles of the double. So this is going to be a very skeet batch this year, but it's definitely a very small batch. The recipe that I had originally found online doesn't make a lot if you're cooking these or baking these for a party or something. So just some things to keep in mind if you're going to make these. Here's all of my dough ready to go and ready to be baked. But I also wanted to show you something I bought new this year that has come in super clutch baking cookies, and they are cookie scoops. Not to be confused with ice cream scoops. I've tried those. They do not work. These are made specifically for cookies, and the little bar inside goes all the way to the end, so you hardly get anything stuck in there, and they are absolutely amazing. I will link them down in the description box if you are interested. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Make sure you watch the video and the playlist on the screen. Check out our website and Instagram down in the description box below for updates on these cookies and recipes. And as always, smash that subscribe button so you can become part of our YouTube family. And if you celebrate the holidays, we wish you a very Merry Christmas. Bye.